and today I'm coming to you with part one of a two-part series that's actually requested from a friend of mine. So this is Dwag. He got me started on learning Mythic Dungeons, and today I am helping you learn how to do Mythic Mobs. Dwag actually has a server of his own. It's dungeon crawling focused with RPG elements, so make sure you actually give it a look. It has some really fun features. With that, on to the video. So we're going to go through 2 or 3 of the mobs that I have designed. Let's go ahead and show you guys what they are. We're going to do mob spawn ghost 1. Here is the ghost. Nice little floating head like that. It's going to fly at us, and when it hits us, it causes that little snow sound. It causes also slowness and weakness. I'm going to go ahead and kill it. You heard that really weird sound that it made. Well, I'm going to explain how all of that worked. First, going to create. Alright, so looking at the ghost mob. Ghost 1 is its identifier. That's what you used in the commands. It is a Vex with 5 health, set to be disguised as a zombie, with the main item being air, because Vexes always spawn with an iron axe. So I basically disabled that by having the air as the main hand. Then set baby to be true, so that the hitbox of the zombie matches pretty closely to the Vex. Now, for set disguise, or not, just disguise. For disguising your mobs, you'll want to look at this wiki page for the Mythic Mobs wiki. Specifically, this area of saving disguises is the main area you want to look at. I'm not going to give too much focus on this though, because it's going to be a very long video. Next, we have damage modifiers. Basically, it will take times 0.25, so that's basically a quarter of the damage from wither and from freezing. It'll take extra magic and lightning damage though. Then for the options, which again, if you go to the wiki, you'll find in options, mob options, all this, right? It's a very long scroll to be able to get down to the bottom because there's so much that you can do. What I did is I made it be invisible so that it only has that little head showing up. I set it to be silent so it only does my sounds. I made it to be inheriting the threat table of the faction that summoned it, and I set it to prevent vanilla damage so that the actual Vex itself will not deal damage to me, which I forgot to do reload, so that's why you guys saw it dealing a little bit of damage to me, but this will actually disable that. Now, I mentioned the player head. That's what this is. On the head slot, it'll have a player head of skull texture, this long thing, which is a UID you can find when looking at player heads. You can open a new tab. I would suggest going over to this fun website, Minecraft heads. You can find every head you want. So if we go ahead and click on blue eggs and scroll down, you can find the value. And this is for developers value. This is specifically what you're going to use in this area. Next, I'm able to customize its drops. So gas tiers, 1 to 2 gas tiers at a 90% chance. And 25 to 75 XP at 100% chance. Next is the sounds. Whenever it attacks a player, it'll do a snow block hit, and that is played at volume 10, which is basically max volume. You want to do that because powder snow is a very quiet sound. I set to pitch 1, which is the standard pitch. Unlike, when it's damaged, pitch 2. Pitch 2 will make it play at a higher and faster pitch. That means the sound will be shorter and it'll be a little bit more screechier. I set that again to max volume, but the fox screech I set to lower volume. Actually, I can probably increase that a little bit. Ooh, not that much. Oh my goodness. So, yeah. Anyways, I set that to be a lower pitch, and this also be a lower pitch because you heard the ghost die. But what if you heard a fox die? You'll hear. Right, that was a really bad impression, but anyways, you heard that and it sounded a lot different than what the ghost sounded like, and that's because by tinkering with the pitch of it, you're able to edit what the sound sounds like and pretty much make entirely custom sounds. Next, when it attacks a player, it will also give them a potion of slowness, weakness for 150 ticks. It will freeze them, giving that little snow effect you saw it on my screen for 150 ticks. And I almost forgot. Here we go. On attack, on attack. I'm glad that. So it does work without the extra, semicolons or not semicolons. What that called? What is that called? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Anyways, next you'll see level 0. It's like, why does it say level 0? That's because the way Mythic Mobs works, it always does 1 plus whatever level you enter. So if you type in 0, it gives level 1 weakness. You type in 1, it'll give level 2 slowness, right? Pretty straightforward. Next is a skill blink. So 30% of the time, when it is damaged, it will apply this skill to itself. If we go over and look at the skill, what it does is that it plays a quick sound, being like, oh, I got hurt. It'll then do a very short 5-tick delay and teleport way up in the sky, way beyond what the player is going to render it. After another delay, it's going to teleport yet again up into the sky, so that basically the Vex AI, it will accelerate very quickly down towards the ground the further away it is, because Vexes try to stay in equilibrium with the surface. So I want to stay up in the air longer, meaning I need to keep it teleporting up there. And eventually, after a total of 200 ticks of delay, it'll teleport to the player and place a loud sound, which you could actually want to probably have after a short delay, and letting the player know, hey, you have a ghost that just teleported to you, you're in danger again. Next, Signal Monolith Countdown. So this one is pretty darn special. So basically, whenever it dies, it'll send a signal called Monolith Countdown to all mobs called Monolith Circular within a 14 block radius. Now, let's go look at the Monolith Circular. This is also Vex with 10 health. We're going to go ahead and summon it to show you guys what it's all about. Mobs spawn Monolith Circular. And what this thing does is that when it spawns, it sets a variable. So if we go over to our variables, it'll set variable of monolith count per the caster to a value of 10. Now, caster is something that you can have, I think, 3 values for, and it's called the scope. You can have a skill scope, a caster scope, and a world scope. And what those scopes mean... Really? Construction outside? I hope that doesn't come up in the video. What those mean is that it depends on what is going to inherit and hold the variable value. If it's world, then that variable will be set to all entities that would use it inside the entire world. The caster means whoever casts the skill, they will keep that variable for the entire duration of their lifespan. And the skill variable means that only during the duration of this meta skill being run, and these are all meta skills, as you can see, they're in the skill section, then it will basically unset the variable as soon as the skill is finished. So that then is referenced up here as the variable for the boss bar. So you see up here with the summon mob, it has a boss bar, 10 mobs with a red little skull. So you can see that skull here in red, and then that's that variable which was set to 10 initially. And then yeah, so then whenever it receives the signal, which going back to reminding you guys, Monolith Countdown is a signal sent to all those mobs. On that signal, it will end up damaging itself by 1, so it'll decrease its health, and it will also subtract the variable that's up here by 1. So, fun little circle thing. It's just a particle orbital. You guys can figure that one out pretty easily by yourselves. But if I mobs spawn ghost 1, and if I kill it pretty quickly, like so, you saw this decreased to 9, and the health also, you can't see it, but it did decrease to 9. So once you kill 10 mobs, will end up basically killing the Monolith Circular because its health will be at 0. This is used for basically locking off certain areas for a number of mob kills. Let's say you have to kill 10 mobs until a certain area may unlock or an event may happen, because you can do on death events, triggers, which would be the little whatever this thing's called. That will end up triggering other things or skills. You can do so much with it. It's a very, very customizable system that you have here. So yeah, that's pretty much the ghost. We're going to go ahead and move on to the mummy. Let's go ahead and summon a mummy, show you guys what it's all about. Mobs spawn mummy. Here we go. And game mode survival. Will start chasing after me, and pretty soon it'll summon a tornado right there. This tornado is going to come after me pretty quickly. Oh, here it comes. It'll hit me really quickly and send me up into the sky. And then also, when I hit the mummy, it went up in the sky like that. We're going to see, oh geez, we're going to see what that's all about. We're going to go and kill this, and you saw the thing decreased again. So, what made all that wonderful stuff happen? I'll show you guys. This is a husk with a disguise set sprinting true, and that's why you saw some particles at its feet. If you were paying attention, you can always rewind to my videos, give it some extra watch time to see exactly what I'm talking about. It has 20 health, factions mob, has a little bit larger scale, it prevents our drop so it won't drop what zombies drop, and it will have a threat table, meaning that it inherits whatever the summoner tells it to go attack. Some damage modifiers, I already went over all this stuff. Some drops, I also showed you guys this. In the main hand, it will have an iron shovel at all times. That's the equipment. And it has the same monolith countdown signal as before. Now let's go over all the new stuff. Effect particles. This will run particles every 6 ticks at itself at all these different variables. Let's go look at what particles can do. So particle. Effects. Page is moved, and we'll look up with Control F particles. So particle right here. You can see here all the different options for how you can customize your particle effects. And we'll give you a few examples here. What you can do. The effect. Now that's a colon right there. The effect colon is entirely optional. As you can see here, you can do without it. It's just the example that I copied and pasted and then edited. That's what I have here. So that's what caused the little campfire smokes to be spawning at its feet. Next, play animation. So every 200 ticks, it will play an animation. It'll summon a tornado, and it will possibly run a mummy revive on cooldown 200. Now this one's a little bit more separated from what these two are going on, so we're going to focus on these two first. So this play animation, what's that do? Well, if we look up in the wiki, we'll go to play animation, and it will do one of these things. So 0 is swing main arm, which we will see A equals 0. So A right here equals 0 for swing main arm. The audience being the world, so all other entities see it. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Next is summon. So summon a tornado, sand tornado creep. They'll summon one of them every 200 ticks at itself. Well, let's go see this sand tornado creep. Oh, yeah, we're still recording. Awesome. So tornado, here we go. So this mob is actually a Vindicator. This Vindicator is part of the factions. It has all these different options. I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory at this point what all these options do if I haven't already explained them all in other mobs. So 125 ticks after this thing spawns, it will remove itself, right? And also every 4 ticks for all players in radius of 2 blocks, it will damage them by 1 for a type of damage of suffocation. It'll prevent knocking back the player, so it won't knock the player back. It'll ignore any enchantments, ignore any shields, ignore resistances, ignore effects, and ignore immunity. Now, for immunity, it's a little bit like Metroidvania games, where you have basically a lot of projectiles going over, and if their hitboxes overlap with the players, it damages the player. But sometimes projectiles go through a player. And so if the projectile was to be registered at every single game tick where it's passing through the player, it would damage that player every single game tick. It would pretty much instantly kill the player. So players, including in Minecraft, are given moments of time of immunity after being damaged. And so this says, you know what? Screw that. I just want to damage you every single 4 ticks. I mean, heck, I could turn it to 1 tick, hit save, and hop over to Minecraft, reload, game mode survival, mobs spawn tornado. Whee! And that's what exactly would happen. So be very careful when you're handling that. So that's why I always have it to 4 ticks just to make sure it's not too fast. As far as skill sand tornado, let's go take a look at that. Let's see, sand tornado. So this looks really big, but it's actually quite simple. It gives the player a velocity of straight up by a little bit, specifically players in radius of 2 blocks. It'll play these sounds, so that you always want sounds. Sound design is super important. All right. And then it's just a bunch of particle rings. It's just a whole bunch of particle rings. That's pretty much the entire thing. It's really easy, really simple, pretty straightforward. Next, we're going to look at this mummy revive. So what's all this? There is a 20% chance that when it is damaged, it will run the skill of mummy revive, but it can only do it once every 200 ticks. Which, if the Minecraft server is running properly, there will be 20 ticks per second. All right. So that would be 200 divided by 20, right? So that you can also do 20 divided by 2, which is 10. So that is 10 seconds. Once every 10 seconds, it will run a skill called Mummy Revive if it is damaged with a 20% chance of actually even doing it in the first circle or in the first place. So what's Mummy Revive do? Here it is. So what Mummy Revive does is that it sets the mob's gravity to false. It gives it some upwards velocity, and it's set, not add. So now it will fly upwards. It will do an orbital of a skill. So that skill will then do these particle effects. So it's basically just a bunch of particle effects. And it will then have a short delay where it sets its velocity to 0. So it's just kind of floating up in the sky. As you guys can rewind to my video and see again. It will play the sound of a blaze. Oh, you want to remove the on death part of that. Hit save. And have a shorter delay, saying gravity back to true, having it fall back to the ground, and then have this little husk-like sound, the parrot imitate husk, at these values, and heal itself by its full amount of health. That's pretty much the entire thing for the mummy. And then catch me back in next week, where I will actually design a brand new mob with you guys. Thank you guys so much.